Greetings. Today I'm going to talk about Martians from the Expanse TV show. I will start with who they are as a nation, and then I will cover some memorable individuals. Let's jump right into it. In the universe of the Expanse, Mars is more than a planet. It's a dream. Born from the collective determination of its settlers, the Martian project was an unparalleled effort to transform a barren, red wasteland into a habitable world. Terraforming Mars was not just a scientific mission. It was a unifying ideal that gave its people purpose, identity, and pride. The harshness of the Martian environment demanded discipline, sacrifice, and a shared vision of a future that many would never live to see, but one worth striving for nonetheless. This dream fostered a distinct Martian culture, militaristic, efficient, and deeply committed to technological progress. Unlike the decadent and bloated bureaucracy of Earth, Mars was lean and focused, often portrayed as the up-and-coming power in a solar system locked in a tense Cold War. Relations between Mars and Earth simmered with distrust and rivalry, fueled by decades of militarization, espionage, and brinkmanship. Mars sought to prove itself, not just as Earth's equal, but as its superior. However, this unified front began to fracture with the discovery of the protomolecule. The ancient alien technology represented a fundamental shift in humanity's understanding of the universe. More than a weapon, it was a key to an entirely new reality, one in which distance, time, and effort could be redefined. For Mars, this was not just an opportunity, but a threat. Suddenly, the centuries-long effort to terraform a single planet seemed obsolete when dozens of habitable worlds beyond the ring gates became accessible overnight. This cosmic upheaval struck at the heart of Martian identity. With a habitable universe laid out before them, many Martians began to question the value of their sacrifices. Why struggle to build an atmosphere from scratch when pristine worlds were available for the taking? The loss of faith in the terraforming project triggered a slow unraveling of Martian society. Institutions weakened, patriotism faded, and an undercurrent of disillusionment spread through the once proud populace. As the dream faded, some turned to survival by any means. A black market emerged, where once unthinkable acts, like selling advanced Martian military technology to belter factions, became common. The same tools once crafted to defend Mars from Earth were now traded away, undermining both Martian security and its moral foundation. In this erosion of unity, Mars began to resemble the very decay it had always defined itself against. Martians, once the embodiment of resolve and purpose, were now caught between a lost dream and an uncertain future. Their story in the Expanse is not just about the rise and fall of a civilization. It's about what happens when the very reason for a society's existence is challenged by forces it cannot control. The Martian dream may have been forged in dust, but its fate was written among the stars. Bobbie Draper. Bobbie Draper begins her journey in the Expanse as the embodiment of the Martian ideal. A disciplined, elite soldier in the Martian Marine Corps, she is loyal, physically formidable, and entirely devoted to the Martian dream, to make Mars a green, living world. That dream, of turning an inhospitable rock into a thriving home, shaped her values and her identity. Like many Martians, Bobbie believed that every sacrifice, every hardship, was worth it for the greater goal of terraforming. Her pride in the Martian military wasn't just about power, it was about purpose. As a gunnery sergeant, Bobbie trained for war, especially a possible one with Earth. She saw herself as a protector of Mars, molded by its harshness and lifted by its vision. Her loyalty was ironclad, her skills unmatched, and her belief in Martian superiority unshakable. She wasn't just a soldier, she was Mars-made flesh. But Bobbie's world begins to unravel after a harrowing encounter on Ganymede. Sent there with her squad, she faces something no soldier is trained for: a protomolecule hybrid, an inhuman creature, immune to bullets, born from alien technology. It slaughters her team effortlessly. In its wake, Bobbie is left not just physically injured, but psychologically shaken. The clarity of her beliefs begins to blur. Forced into political games after the incident, Bobbie finds herself used by the Martian and Earth governments alike. But when she eventually defects and joins the crew of the Rocinante, everything changes. Among the diverse and independent members of the Roci, Bobbie finds a new kind of loyalty, not to a flag, but to people. They fight for truth, for justice, and for each other, regardless of nationality or allegiance. It's a sharp contrast to the rigid nationalism she grew up with. Her time back on Mars is no easier. Returning home, Bobbie discovers a society in decay. The discovery of habitable worlds beyond the ring gates has hollowed out Martian unity. People are abandoning the terraforming dream. Corruption seeps into the very institutions she once revered. Struggling to make ends meet, Bobbie becomes entangled in an underground weapons smuggling operation, initially to survive, then to investigate. What she uncovers is deeply unsettling. High-ranking officials selling off Martian military tech to the Belt, betraying everything Mars stood for. Disillusioned but not broken, Bobbie chooses a harder path, one of conscience. She doesn't cling to a dead dream, nor does she give in to cynicism. Instead, she fights for a new kind of honor, one rooted in truth, compassion, and doing what's right, even when the cause is unclear. Bobbie Draper's story is one of transformation. From a soldier of Mars to a defender of humanity, she represents the strength to evolve beyond ideology. Her journey through war, loss, betrayal, and renewal shows that even when dreams crumble, the people shaped by them can still forge something new, something stronger. Esai Martin. Esai Martin is a former Martian military officer turned black market smuggler. He once served the ideals of Mars, but now operates in the shadows, selling stolen weapons and military tech to the Belt. His descent into criminality isn't driven by greed, but by a pragmatic acceptance of reality. Mars is changing, and not for the better. The dream of terraforming has been abandoned by many, and loyalty no longer pays the bills. In Esai's eyes, survival requires adaptation, even if that means compromising the very values he once held sacred. Beneath his cold practicality lies a man who hasn't entirely stopped believing in something greater. He's just no longer sure that belief has a place in the world he's left with. Bobbie Draper, by contrast, begins her journey as a true believer. An elite Martian Marine, she lives and breathes the discipline and honor of her people. She fights not just for Mars, but for the idea of Mars, a world forged through hardship, destined to flourish because of its people's relentless spirit. But like Esai, Bobbie finds herself adrift when the dream begins to collapse. Her military career falters, her faith in the Martian government is shattered, and she too is pulled into the criminal underworld in a desperate attempt to find stability. Yet while Esai adapts by letting go, Bobbie resists. Even as she becomes embroiled in illegal operations, she continues to question, investigate, and push back. Where Esai resigns himself to the decline, Bobbie refuses to let go of the possibility that Martian values, honor, duty, integrity still mean something. In the end, she chooses a path of resistance, exposing corruption rather than benefiting from it. She walks away disillusioned, but not broken. Their contrast is stark. Esai represents the quiet, weary surrender of a generation who watched their purpose dissolve. His is a survival story, one of compromise and faded ideals. Bobbie, on the other hand, represents the struggle to preserve meaning in a world that no longer rewards it. Her story is about transformation, letting go of blind loyalty but holding onto core values that transcend national identity. Leelee. Leelee is street-smart, bold, and resourceful. She operates in the shadows of Martian cities, trafficking stolen tech and black market weapons, working with smugglers and disillusioned ex-soldiers. Unlike the older Martians who once held onto grand dreams of terraforming, Leelee doesn't care about that lost future. She's not chasing visions of green fields on red soil. She's surviving, hustling, and adapting in a system where loyalty and ideals no longer pay off. In many ways, Leelee is the anti-Bobbie Draper. Where Bobbie is grounded in discipline and duty, even after losing her faith in the Martian government, Leelee is fast, flexible, and unbound by ideology. She thrives in a world of shifting loyalties, yet the two are not entirely disconnected. Bobbie crosses paths with Leelee during her investigation into Mars's growing black market and corruption, and while they clash in perspective and approach, the encounter is telling. Leelee is what Mars is becoming, while Bobbie is what Mars used to be. The contrast becomes even more personal when Bobbie's young nephew is drawn into the same underground network. Bobbie tries to steer him toward honor and purpose, but Leelee, charismatic and daring, offers an easier, more thrilling alternative. To a young Martian growing up without a dream to believe in, Leelee looks like freedom. She moves through the system, exploits its weaknesses, and doesn't apologize for surviving. That makes her dangerous, but also understandable. In a broken society, role models aren't always ideal. They're often the ones who appear to be winning. Leelee represents a kind of success, not in nation-building or military glory, but in mastering the chaos. So that's it. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.